the ones who were associated with, say, what pop rock labels, but most artists from that were signed to the black label divisions were not given the tools necessary to understand the business, you know, publishing, and on all those music rights. And so it almost after the third album, it's like, oh my goodness, where's all the money? And then having to learn the hard way. How did you guys probably get tuned in early on about, knowing how the business side of the industry works and not just be performers?
Hmm.
Guys?
Well, in the beginning, I mean, keep in mind, we were still young and in the beginning getting to know us and Steve Salem. So we was just in the beginning, but we all knew that we just had to do a fine line. Like say we was co-managing with Steve Salem and we co-managed Lisa and Cult Jam, UTFO, Show Pepsi Riley. Um, you know, we still get our percentage, but the bottom line is that Steve was also a mastermind as well with his thinking, and he would like case in point, it was his idea alongside with like we said before of producing others. It was his idea to have the first album called and the first debut album to be called Lisa and Cult Jam with Full Force. So back in the day, it might have confused some people, but that was 40 years ago. It didn't confuse people as we started getting a name of our own self. You know what I'm saying? So on the business aspect of that, he always would be there with us, talking to the record labels and finding out certain things, and we were relaying it to the other acts and everything like that. So we were just, ahead of the curve in that beginning. And the record company knew that too, because they gave us respect whenever we would come up to the label and check on ourselves and check on some of our acts for, various business scenarios.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys think when you did have Lisa and Cult Jam featuring Full Force and then you had a video of 30 people on there, did you think, oh man, this is a little too much, we just don't need to get involved? Or did you understand at that point that actually that was because the song was going to go to an international market, that actually it made a massive difference with your name?
Well, here's the thing. The reason why Steve Salem even mentioned that, about it being with full force is because, first of all, there was time when the acts felt like, man, full force is like always there, or man, and sometimes they wouldn't say it, but they would feel that. And that's understandable.
Mhm.
But what they forget and fail to realize is that we only started getting into producing to get ourselves a deal. I mean, that was the reason to become producers, to get ourselves a deal. So Steve Salem was like he was a full force member for real. I mean, he was
Mm.
so much like a full force member.
Yes.
He was always thinking, how do I get full force in the camera? How do I find the angle? Even when we didn't understand it, he was
Wow.
always thinking, because remember, Steve was white and he comes
Mm.
from a different type of musicality of making it. We come from the musicality of if you do a show good, they'll sign us because we're good. That shit went out the window. That was over. We didn't realize that in the middle to late 80s, being a dope band that could perform, nobody cared about that, especially if it was a black band. That was done. Steve knew that. He knew that it was all about being a self-contained band, and knew that we had to move in production to become exposed. So what some of the acts wouldn't realize, that's why we was in the videos. We were one of the first type of production teams to do that, to be in the videos, say our names and things like that. That was because it was all about getting us exposure,
Mm.
and it's hard for them to see it because they're the act that they feel like we're stepping in front of, even when they didn't say it, because a lot of times they wouldn't say it. I know they felt it, so that was the main thing. We was doing it to become, full force. Now, I know Lou and Paul don't agree, but I felt like when it came to All Cried Out, we had the longest damn name in the history of Columbia Records. The damn thing said Lisa and Cult Jam with Full Force featuring Bow-Legged Lou and Paul Anthony. And I think
No. Paul Anthony and Bow-Legged Lou.
Paul Anthony and Bow-Legged Lou of Full Force. Didn't it? You say it didn't say that. I just swore it did.
No, it didn't say that. It said, I'll tell you how it sounded.
Tell me what it said.
Because listen, this was also Steve's idea. It was full Lisa and Cult Jam with Full Force featuring Paul Anthony and Bow-Legged Lou. We took it down after 2 weeks. But here's the funny thing, Nnamdi. Now that you bring that up, B, I'll never forget when we were doing the video. This is what shows with the managerial title and everything. And Steve was with us with this for All Cried Out, that video. Because once again, we came out and it started out big in the dance, then the R&B. Then once it starts transcending to pop, then all the pop executives and the executives there at CBS Records. So when it came down for All Cried Out, because first of all, they didn't even want that to be a release. It was, I Wonder If I Take You Home, then Can You Feel the Beat? Then it's like, okay, this is about like All Cried Out. With All Cried Out, they wanted to do the video. They had a meeting, and I remember I went to that meeting. Phil Sandhouse, I'll never forget it. Phil Sandhouse, Jack Rovner. Okay, guys, listen. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this video, Walk Right Out. But when you and Paul singing in it, when y'all sing it, we're gonna use silhouettes. Silhouettes. That's it. So y'all wouldn't see. And I'm like, silhouettes? What the hell? So who's singing the song? Shadows?
But the funny thing about it was Phil Sandhouse, who just came on board, who I saw him about 9 years ago. We laughed about that. He didn't know that we also managed Lisa and Cult Jam.
Yeah,
right. He didn't know. So he was telling us what he probably thought he'd go to someone higher up, but he have to come back to us. It's funny. Oh, and as far as that title, I loved it then. I still love it now. Because it's all about building the brand and building the name. And the group was created. That was Full Force's only top 10 pop hit of our career. So it didn't bother me at all then or now.
Yeah, but you know what? It was cool when it said featuring Full Force. I was talking about when it said featuring Full Force and Bow-Legged Lou and Paul Anthony. That's
Paul Anthony first, then Bow-Legged
Lou. Once again, Lisa and Cult Jam with Full Force featuring Paul Anthony and Bow-Legged Lou. And it just lasted 2 weeks. So I said, oh, that's kind of ridiculous. And then we took it down. Even Steve said it was because it was Steve's idea. And Steve said, no, let's take that down. Let's take that down. And we took it down. But I'm just talking about the video. So coming back to the video thing with the silhouettes, they came back and they were very creative. And if you see that video, the original video of All Cried Out, it shows me and Paul singing our parts, but Lisa's love interest is thinking. So what we're singing is Lisa's love interest thoughts in the song. And I think that was great. I think that was great.
Whose idea was it to, because you could have sang the song yourselves, but whose idea was it to say, well, let's give this to Cult Jam and actually get Lisa to be the lead singer?
Well, no, the song was always written for Lisa.
I don't think he's talking about. Are you talking about the song, Nnamdi? Or are you talking about the group?
Yeah. No, the song. Well, the song itself. Was it? Okay, it's always written for Lisa.
Well, it was always written for Lisa, but my mindset was it was always going to be a duet because I wanted to make sure that we blew up also with it, And it's wonderful because that's how you live forever. Because that song is now a standard. I mean, we can perform it right now. The people just sing both our parts. You know what I mean? So it was always a duet, but I wanted to make sure that we were featured strongly on that song because we was always creating. That's why when I Went to Take You Home blew up, they gave us 2 weeks to do an album. Back then, the album was 7 or 8 songs. But we was always in creative mode. We had all the songs written. So the plan was for her to do that song, but I was always going to make it a duet, to make sure that we reap the benefits of what we created. And that's why on the next album, when we had back-to-back number ones with Headstone, Lost in Motion, I wrote another song called Someone to Love We for Me, and I went over the top. I made sure that me and Lou opened that up and then brought in Lisa. That was deliberate. Okay. So it's okay. It's all love.
But
But
that,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, did it bother you that they had more success globally than you guys?
Not,
No, it didn't bother me because we was always
not,
creative entities. We wanted big success for ourselves, but
yeah.
we kind of lived through our artists as well. If UTFO were to blow up, I mean, Pepsi had a number one record. She's still my favorite singer of all time. So as producers and as managers, we had the dubious distinction of wear all hats. So if one thing blew up and Lisa crossed over and Lisa had back-to-back number ones and hits and everything like that, the climate was right, the time was right, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? So if we weren't managers and producers, then we might feel a certain way. But no, we vicariously live through our artists as well.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it's the same thing. Like when you talk about All Cried Out, remember, 10 years after we released it, Allure and 112 came out with it, and we were so excited again. We was very excited again, and we're very close to this day, us and the girls, and that became huge, like all over the world.
I would have been
All,
super excited because wait, look, I was super excited because I was with my man Corey Rooney. He said, "Paul, come on, I want you to hear something." And when he played it, I heard Mariah Carey singing "All Cried Out." She was singing it,